financial resolutions for 2025?
So we were discussing subscriptions.
Yes.
I have to say, I don't know how many I have.
It's gotten ridiculous.
It has, because you don't realize you put your credit card information and then you're paying all these monthly fees and you don't even know, and they add up.
Cablevision was $250, $300 for 2 boxes and whatever, right?
Yeah.
And now you've got 7 different subscriptions, which is coming out to be $200 instead of $250.
Exactly.
So you're still spending. And if you need Disney for the kids, if you need HBO because you like to watch a certain show, people are buying subscriptions for a month just for one show.
Exactly. And then if the show's over, it's like,
a year goes by, you're still paying for it. So subscriptions are a really big thing. Keep an eye out for how many streaming services you actually are paying for, and that can help you save.
I think they have an app for that now. Like, you can get an app and it tells you how many subscriptions you have, and the ones you don't need, you can remove. I need to get that.
Shameless plug, as a mortgage lender, Rocket has a great platform.
That's the one I saw.
Rocket Money. Okay.
Rocket
I use
Money,
it.
guys.
It's a great way to track your finances. It's a great way to track subscriptions. If you have multiple subscriptions that you're actually trying to do away with, they will actually call on your behalf and cancel them for you.
You sound like the commercial.
So it's a shameless plug, but it is good. It is good because you can see recurring monthly
Rocket
charges
Mortgage,
that maybe you wouldn't have.
For a commercial, we have Frank over here.
Yeah, if you wouldn't have picked up on them on your own through your bank statements, it's a great way. It's a great way to force a savings. So you could set up a percentage of your balance in your checkings or savings account that just automatically gets withdrawn into a future home buying fund. You could set up kind of any category that you want for that budget. So if it's an aggressive budget, conservative budget, maybe you just need a rainy day fund,
Can you tell
a vacation
numbers,
fund.
guys?
So yeah, numbers are important. Subscriptions, that's a great way to cut $50, $25 a month.
No, that's true.
Over
definitely.
a year. That could be your earnest money deposit. That could be a $5,000, $2,500 small percentage of your closing costs that you wouldn't have had otherwise. So that's a really good one. Looking at subscriptions to cut back on. What about some other?
He dove deep with that one.
Yeah.
I would say, I personally don't drink it, but I think everyone does. Coffee. If you don't have to purchase it, especially Starbucks being expensive and these other coffee shops, just drink a cup of coffee at home.
Cafe Bustelo. Very affordable, very strong.
My mother loved that.
And you can get a jar for the same cost of,
probably a cup.
1 grande cold brew at Starbucks. Okay. So if coffee is your thing, you can't live without it. There's alternatives.
Make it at home, guys.
There's alternatives. And we are talking about subtracting expenses.
Yes.
But realistically, today's generations kind of need multiple streams of income unless you're able to do, very well in one position and you don't need to make money in other areas to be able to afford the lifestyle or to be able to afford, living in the area that you want to stay in, right? Increasing income, it's a touchy subject, but it's a realistic, it's a reality of today's generations. One income is not always going to be able to help you afford buying a home, afford the car that you want, afford those other luxuries. So not only subtracting and looking at where you can cut, but looking at how you can add, income every month.
For sure.
So as a real estate agent, as somebody who's in a couple of different, ventures and areas within business, what has been something you've learned about adding income or being a hustler and trying to add so that you can afford that lifestyle? Is that something that you had to do? Or is that something that you kind of preferred to do so that you can afford those things?
I think to each their own, right? When you get accustomed to living a certain type of way, you want to kind of keep up with that, right? Not necessarily to keep up with others, but to keep up what you're comfortable with. So myself, full-time real estate, been doing it for years. I love it. Clearly, this is where most of my income comes from. But as we mentioned, I also do insurance. Yep. I'm also a notary public. So there's other licenses I have as well that kind of help a little bit. But I would say overall, it's just about budgeting yourself, right? Yeah. Whenever you have that closing, making sure that you're allocating the funds appropriately so then you continue to live comfortable. I come from very humble beginnings. So if I were to have to cut back, I'm totally okay with that. It doesn't really bother me. Yeah. However, I like what I like and I like to keep those things. So I know I have to work that much harder to have that.
You could also adjust privacy settings on social media so you get less ads. because we are very
Oh, that's
consumer.
smart.
We are a very
Yeah.
consumer heavy, generation.
Stop shopping on social media,
TikTok
guys.
shop, Instagram.
I didn't even know
Every
TikTok had
other
a
time
shop.
you scroll, it's an advertisement or a sponsored ad for you to buy something.
Mm-hmm.
And naturally that trigger hits. Oh, I need that for this. I'm going to go buy that. Okay.
Yeah.
You have these different ways that you can finance. You could chop up your payments into 4 payments on something like a pair of shoes. If you can't, the rule of thumb is if you can't buy it twice cash, you shouldn't probably buy it at all. It might
Have you ever done that, Frank?
aggressive.
Now that you're talking so deep into, have you done that? Have you purchased from social media before?
Oh, definitely.
Okay, so
Definitely. It's,
very passionate about
if
this.
you're like Shein,
Speaking with conviction.
like mostly for women, if you're,
Shein?
dresses, shoes, however you pronounce it, that's not my forte.
No, I'm teasing because they had the thing with Shein, and then for the males, it's going to be he out.
Oh, Shein. Okay. Shein, he out. Yeah. So yeah, like there's so many, anytime that you've liked a post, anytime that you've shared a post, that algorithm is going to pick up those products that are going to grab your attention.
Okay.
And you're going to be in front of so many opportunities to spend money. And that's what's going to make it harder for you to save and budget, right? So maybe limiting your privacy settings to advertisements, whether it's Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and delayed gratification, hold off until you have the money to pay for it cash without having to, use a, finance something
Payment
as
plan.
simple. Yeah. Like a pay, like
These are gold
50
nuggets, guys.
Yeah.
Gold nuggets.